Well, again, thank you for coming to our ladies' conference. This is the last time I'm going to speak about the love languages. I do want to say, I told my husband yesterday when we were talking about it, I said, I just remember the feeling I had when I realized what his love language was and how I didn't need to beat my head against the wall anymore, trying, as I was frustrating him and didn't realize it, why I was frustrating him. And it wasn't all the time, but I just noticed things I was trying to show love to him that I wasn't. And when I found his love language, it was, I'll call it an aha moment for me, where I went, oh, that works. And I love to fix things. I love to be a fixer, and I felt like that was a fix for me. That if I don't do what I know to do to show him love, well, that's my fault. At least I can fix that. But if I don't know what to do, that was frustrating for me. And I wasn't frustrated anymore after reading about that and learning about it. And in speaking on it, I love the subject so much, and that's why I told Mrs. Wilkerson I love this subject. I think it's probably one of the best in the fact that I read a statement, don't know if this is true or not, I'm thinking that probably it is, that 70% of the divorces are caused by you not knowing your love language of your spouse, or friction in relationships that you have, is just knowing the love language. That's it. What an easy fix that is. So I had two things. The one last one, I know I'm gonna go over what I've already talked about quickly, but acts of service. The acts of service I talked about 2 times ago. Just remember that actions speak louder than words. Don't talk about what you're gonna do, just do it. Because the person looks at you and says, stop talking about it and just do it. And I've heard those words before, because it's great intentions when you talk about it, but it makes them feel loved if you actually do it. Also, I forgot to say yesterday, my sister-in-law lives in California, and we go visit my in-laws every Christmas season. We were out there a couple years ago, and I was helping her with the dishes, and she had just been married just a few years, probably 5 years, and I said, how are things going? She said, it's going good. And we were talking about what our husbands like and what they choose. And she said, my husband always likes for me to do the dishes right away after dinner. I don't care who's visiting. And she is, I have to say, she is more what I would say, quote unquote, a liberal, where she's not really the type to say, oh, whatever you want. She loves her husband, but she doesn't come across that way. So I was very surprised for her to say this, and it really spoke to me. She said, my husband loves the dishes to be done immediately when dinner's done. I don't care if my mom and dad are visiting. I don't care if we have the president in the household. He wants them done. And I said, well, that's good. That's good. And I said, is that hard for you? And she said, a little bit. But she said, I love him. Why wouldn't I do it? And I thought, it hit me like a brick wall. And I thought, I've thought of that before. But when she said it, I thought, she's right. She's very right about that. So acts of service, just remember, don't talk about it, just do it. Number 2, spending quality time with your children, with your husband. Some husbands want the quality time with you. Whatever that love language is, just make sure it's undivided attention with them. And then words of praise is the last one I'm going to talk about today. I'm sorry, it wasn't words of praise, it was the third one. Physical touch was the one I was going to talk about today. Words of praise, though, remember that your spoken praise and appreciation will help so much to make somebody feel loved. Just be careful about the negative things you say to them. Make it a sandwich method, positive, negative, positive, if you need to bring a negative in. It does help for people like me. And then giving and receiving gifts, or receiving gifts. When you have somebody who loves, it feels loved by you giving them a gift, give them a gift, even if it's little, a note, a candy bar. I get my husband's favorite candy bar. It's not his love language, but when he's hungry, he appreciates it. So to put a candy bar and a note and send it to his work, or send it through the mail, do something different. Excuse me. Then the last one is physical touch. When I was growing up, my parents, very loving, the best parents in the whole world. I know a lot of people say that, but I really feel that way. And I still do. My mom has already passed away and gone to heaven, and I miss her so much. But one thing she taught me, that out of many things, was that physical touch is important. That's not my love language. But when I was a baby, newborn, I'm talking maybe a month old, my dad said he took me, and he's very loving, my mom's very loving, and he took my face, and he just did the kissing motion, like that, come here, Deb. And I turned my head away. He said, oh no, we don't do that in this house. And he wasn't being, he just said, I couldn't believe you did that, but you obviously didn't like that feeling of me kissing on you, but you're gonna learn to, because that's what we do in this house. And it really helped me, because I feel like the physical touch Some people just need a pat on the back, or hold it on the arm, or just rubbing their back. Hope you're doing okay. It doesn't have to be crazy hugs and, now sometimes it does need to be, but some people feel the affection to them is love. They feel very loved by that. And it's taught me a lot with my own family. When I was a baby, I didn't like it, but now I do, so it's great. The last thing I want to say is, I mentioned this yesterday a little bit, but I mentioned my brother-in-law had a sermon, read your own mail. Just make sure that in trying to figure out other people's love language, that you don't just worry about yourself. I know it's hard not to, when you feel depleted and you don't feel loved, you're like, where's mine? Where's my love language? But even just talking about this with my husband, it helped him to understand, once again, what my love language is, but I didn't have to say, now just remember, that's my love language. I want to hear some really good words when I come home today from the conference. I didn't say anything about that. I just mentioned what I would talk about. And he got the hint, he knows. Just a reminder. But also we were talking about what I was going to speak about, he said, John 15:13, that is such a great verse. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. And if you get yourself out of it, and think of others, just like we know, Jesus, others, yourself, and think of others and be good to others, you're not worried about yourself anymore. Although, when you love somebody else, it does come back to you. It always comes back to you. What you reap, you will sow. So I just want you to remember, with these love languages, I hope it's helped in any way, but with your children, with your mom, with your dad, with anybody, even people that you don't have a good relationship with, I would say, the advice I would say is to go to them and just try little bits at a time, just a little bit of their love language, and I'm almost positive that they'll feel loved and that your relationship will be renewed, and I pray for that. So I hope that this has been a help to you, and thank you again for coming.